Hi, welcome to this video on basic Linux commands. So we're going to use a Radiate OS just to run some of the basic Linux commands that we can find on any Linux distribution. So I'm going to right click on the desktop and open the terminal. So the first thing to remember is that the Linux operating system is a file-based operating system. That means it's just made up of files and folders. That's all there is to it. So the main folder, the folder that contains all the folders, is called the root folder. Okay, so within that root folder, that's where we find all the other folders. So in order for us to, as we go now into the Linux distribution and see how it works, in order for us to understand where we are right now, because we want to know if we are in the root folder, we use the command pwd. So if we type pwd and press enter, it will show us where we are. So right now the folder that we are in is, we are in a folder in /home/onworks. So what it means is that the first slash means we're in the root folder. Under the root folder there's a folder called home. In the home folder there's a folder called onworks, and in that onworks folder, that's where we are right now. And for us to see what is in that folder, we just need to use the command ls. So ls is a command for listing the contents of a folder. So within the onworks folder there is the desktop, documents, etc folders. All right, so how do we then go into the root folder so that we can see all the folders that are under the root folder? In order for you to change into a new folder, you use the command cd, which stands for change directory. So you cd into which folder we want to move into the root folder, which is represented by // and when we press enter, we are now in the root folder. Okay, so if it were not successful, we would have gotten an error telling us that that folder does not exist and the like, but because it returned to us an empty prompt, it means our command was successful. Now for us to see what is in the root folder, we use that command again, ls. So when you install an Linux operating system, there are these folders that are installed by default, and these folders, you have got certain responsibilities among them. For example, the /etc folder contains the settings of the various applications that you're going to install. So whatever you install, it includes things like IP tables, it includes things like our network, our host files, our DNS files, etc. They're all found there. The boot folder contains boot configurations that we are using for configuring the boot session or the boot process of the computer. The mount, the MNT folder, is one that we can use to mount various things that we want to mount, for example various devices and the like, as well as the dev folder. So you can research further on these folders and you'll find that they've got specific uses, but they can be used for various things. For example, the var folder can be used for logs. The usr folder, the lib folder, the bin folder can contain binaries and various files for different applications. So these are the folders that you find under the root, and within these folders, that's where we find all the other folders. So as we said, under the root folder, which is represented by the /, there is the home folder. As you can see, we spoke of the /home/onworks. So here we're in cd/, we're in the / folder. Now we want to move into the home folder. So remember, changing directories, we use cd, then we put the name of the folder. Now because we are already in the / folder, we don't need to say cd/home. It's still correct, but we can use the shortcut, which is just cd home. Okay, if we press enter, we are now in the home. As you can see here, it's showing us that we are now in the home folder. So this is showing us, this is the username, and this is the server name, and this is the folder that we're currently in. But let's just say we want to move into the run folder and we are already in the home folder. As you can see, you need to first get out of the home folder, get into the root folder, and then you go into the run folder. That's how it just works on Windows as well. Remember, when Windows, when you enter a folder, if you want to get out of that folder, you press the back button so that you can go into another folder in a different location. That's basically the same. But the shortcut that you can use is, you can say, since you know it's in the root folder, you can say cd/, which is the root folder, run, which is the folder. So it's cd/run, and now we are in the run folder when we press enter. And if we want to go back into the home folder, we just press cd/home. Okay, So that's a shorter and a faster way, because we are referencing the full path that we want to move into a directory that is found with under root, and that folder is the home folder. So within the home folder, we list what is in that folder. We find that within the home folder, we have the onworks folder. And we also want to get into that onworks folder. So we do cd onworks. When we are now in the onworks folder, we want to list the files in the onworks folder as well, so that we can see what's there. We realize we have desktop, documents, downloads, etc. So we want to go into the desktop folder. So we do desktop, or we just press tab to finish off the command. And we are now in the desktop folder. So we also do a list ls to see what is in desktop folder, and we can see that on the desktop there's nothing. So on the desktop, what we want to do is to create a new folder. And to create a new folder, we use the command make directory mkdir, then we put the name of the folder. So we can call this folder my folder, and then we press enter. So now within the desktop, we've got a folder called my folder, and if we do an ls within that folder, in the desktop folder, we can see now we have got a my folder. So we now want to move into my folder, and within that folder we want to create a file. Okay, so the file, we want to just call it my file. So how do we create it? We use the command touch. So the command touch creates a new file. It will be an empty file. So it's touch my file. Oh, sorry, too many m's there. So it will be touch my file. Okay, touch my file. Okay, so if we do an ls in that folder, we now have a file called my file. Now, how do we write something within that file? So we've got this file, and they just want to put a name, or to just write my name is, or hello world in that folder, in that file. So the way you write the files can differ depending on the OS. You can use an application called Nano, or you can use Vim, but I'm going to use VI because it's faster and it's easier to use. So what you do is, within that folder, the my folder, you use VI my file. So VI means we are opening the editor that will allow us to edit this file. So when we say VI my file, we'll find that the file is empty, right? And for us to write, if we start typing something, you can see there's nothing that's happening. Okay, oh sorry, something came up, but it's not coming through unless you have that insert command. So let me just escape that and start again. I just want to show you it's possible that something can come up if you just start typing randomly, but I don't want it to go that way. I want to show you the real process, how it goes. So you do a VI my file, right? And then for you to be able to write something, you press I, so that you go into the insert mode. The insert mode now allows you to type whatever you want. So you can say my name is Takudzwa. I am new to Linux. Hello world. Okay, so that's what we have written in there. Now if we want to save this text, we first press escape, the escape button, then we type the semicolon, then we type W, which means write, then we type Q, which means quit, and then the exclamation mark, which means overwrite anything or accept everything. So we're going to quit we are going to write this new text to this file and then quit the file. And when we press enter, that file, we have saved that thing. Okay, we can also, let's do VI again. If we do VI again into the file, a shorter way of saving is to press Shift and ZZ. Okay, Shift ZZ. So if you do Shift ZZ, it's a faster and shorter way of saving. So your file has been saved. So how now do we read the contents of the file without having to open the editor? Because at times we may be scared that if we open the editor, we may end up making unwanted configuration changes. So we use the command cat. So cat is just a read-only way of reading the file without actually opening it up to possible editing. So you say cat my file, and now when you say cat my file, you can see this is the content. These are the contents of the file. My name is Takudzwa. I am new to Linux. Hello world. So that's cat my file. So now we want to move this file, this my file, to the documents folder. So right now it's in the what? It's in the desktop folder under my folder. Okay, so we want to move that file. So under my folder, we can just say move my file, right? So first let's move, which is represented by MV, then the file name, my file. Then we now need to include the location of that new file. And the location, as we said, remember the shortcut is to put the absolute path of the file. So we want to go into the documents, and right now we are in my folder, and those are in two different hierarchies. You know, you can't jump straightly from my folder to documents, so you need to follow the path. So we remember we said we start from the root folder. Under the root folder, that's where we find the home folder, right? Under the home folder, we are going to find the onworks folder. Under the onworks folder, that's when we will now go to the documents folder. And then under that documents folder is where we want to store this file, but we need to give the file a name. So we can actually call it my file as well, but we can also call it maybe my file 2, so that we know it's the second file that we moved. So we can, when we press enter, the file, it means the command was successful because we did not get any errors. Now if we now do a cd into that file, into the documents folder, we can either cd by writing the full path, okay, or we can cd by I'll show you the other way just now. And then if you go into the documents folder and do an ls, so now we are in the documents folder. And then we do an ls in the documents folder. As you can see here, we are now in the documents folder. We are now outside we have left the my folder. So if we do an ls in the documents folder, we should see a file named my file 2. Okay, so there is the file. And then if we do a cat to read that file, we should see it contains the exact same content as my file. And then if we go back to my folder, right, if we do so another way of okay, if you do cd/home/onworks/desktop, okay, and we do an ls, if we do an ls, we should be able to see it's just taking some time to respond. So you can actually go on onworks.net if you want a Linux server for free that you can just use to practice these commands. You can go on the website onworks.net. That's the one I'm using right now. So if we do an ls in the desktop folder, I lost connection there.